Hello, welcome to another edition of the Cream City Cast. We're CreamCityCentralWest.com's Bucks podcast. I'm Dylan Piccolo, your host. I'm here once again with Andrew Goodman on the Cream City Cast, presented to you by TheShepherdExpress.com. Andrew, what's up?
Always a good day after a Bucks victory, that's for sure. But very, very inconsistent long weekend for the Bucks for sure. Just want to touch on the Golden State game. We all know the Warriors beat us 108-94. Just want to get your thoughts. I know it was a few days ago, but there were some eye-opening things in that game for sure. What did you see in that performance?
There was a lot of. It's always good when you play those championship caliber teams like the Cavs and the Warriors because you can kind of see, where you stack up and where in comparison to the teams that are already there. Kevin Durant was just a killer that night. Giannis's foul situation really didn't help. So I think it was Middleton or Snell. They put on Durant at the end, and Durant just took advantage of that. So, the Bucks are definitely like a tough team for the Warriors to play against because they can match them in length, and like kind of helps when you're playing against Curry, who didn't play, but Thompson also because you can just chase them around and have a hand up for their shot, which not many teams can do. But a 12-point fourth quarter, you can't really win many games, especially against Golden State.
Yeah, that was definitely a disaster of a fourth quarter. This game was pretty even going up to the fourth. I believe the Bucks even had a lead. But then, you scored 12 points. Chris Middleton, 2 of 12, and he really got locked up by Draymond Green all night. And then, like you said, KD, the human sniper, 12 of 20, 26 points. He just took over down the stretch. The Bucks did limit the Warriors 5 of 15 from downtown, and if that happens, you sort of expect them to win, especially since Stephen Curry didn't play. But disappointing performance for me at least. But I guess it is a learning curve for the Bucks.
Definitely is. You're definitely going against a whole nother animal in the Warriors, but Brogdon played well in 40 minutes, 50% from the field and 17. So him and Bledsoe looked to make some chemistry back there in the backcourt, which was, you lost. You were competitive for the most of the game. You lost at the end, which has kind of been the Bucks mantra of the season, to be honest with you.
Right, and then we had that debacle in South Beach yesterday where the Heat beat the Bucks 97-79, and that was just an ugly performance, to say the least.
It really was. It was definitely not any fun to watch, especially in an afternoon with great football on. But once again, the third quarter really has been the difference for the Bucks this season on how they play. They were in it at halftime, actually winning at halftime, but a 30-16 third quarter was the decisive factor in the game, getting down 12 points going into the fourth, and then eventually losing by their 18 that they did. I look to the two losses from the Warriors and the Heat. One thing I'd like to note is that I feel like when the Bucks get John Henson involved a little bit more offensively, I think they have a better chance to win. Look against the Heat, Henson had 4 points on 2 of 5 from the field. And against the Warriors, Henson had 6 points on 2 of 6 from the field. And if you look at today's game against the Wizards, John Henson also had 4 points. But I feel like if you get him more involved offensively, I feel like that's really where you're going to get some production because now they have too many players for them to defend.
Yeah, and part of the problem with the Bucks offense is what we've learned the last few weeks is that they don't really have a system. So a lot of what they're doing is basically relying on Giannis to bail him out or just a lot of individual one-on-one ISOs, whether it's Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, Malcolm Brogdon, who's not necessarily a great shot creator. So I think that's part of the problem as why John Henson really isn't involved unless it's a tip and dunk or, a late dump off for a left-handed hook shot. I think that's part of the problem is a lack of a system there on offense, but I wholeheartedly agree with you that John Henson is the dark horse for this team. If he can just pick it up, bring the consistency every game, game in and game out. Granted, this game was against Hassan Whiteside, so that's a very tough matchup. But if he can elevate his game to the next level, we've been saying this for years, the Bucks are going to be a better team for sure.
Absolutely. I think that's correct. And Also, looking at these two games, the Chris Middleton, I guess, naysayers have seen kind of a little, I don't know, a little fire to the flame because of the two games prior to the one today against the Wizards.
Yeah, I'm not ready to write off Chris Middleton. I know a lot of people are after this weekend, but if you look at the game against the Warriors, he got locked up by Draymond Green, and Draymond Green's been doing that since he stepped on to the NBA floor. He's arguably the best one-on-one defender, so it's hard to really get anything going when you have a physical defender like him. And against the Heat in South Beach, I feel like that's kind of a schedule loss because, let's be honest, guys were probably out partying. We saw Eric Bledsoe post something on his Snapchat around like 3, 4 in the morning. So I don't want to say, it's a schedule loss performance, but I kind of base it off that. There's really no excuse. But he did have a nice bounce back performance today against the Wizards. So I'm definitely not ready to write off Chris Middleton for sure.
Absolutely not. He's proven it to you last season and this season that he can be consistent basically in his average of scoring. He'll give you 17, probably 17 to 20 a night, and you don't have to really worry about anything with him, except, of course, a couple hit or miss games. And unfortunately, one of his missed games was against the Warriors, which was not good. But today's game on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, they had some matinee games. And Giannis against the Wizards had a big, big game.
It's a big boy game, man. 20 rebounds to go along with 27 points. I mean, he had a really bad first half, but, he even said in an interview a few weeks ago that he likes to come out more aggressive in the second half, and boy, did he take over, especially in crunch time.
Absolutely. He only went 9 of 23 from the floor with first 27 points. He got to the line 15 and converted on 9 of them. But, man, he was very impressive. There was a couple turnaround jump shots that I saw, which was very impressive. It finally felt like Giannis kind of broke through that slump as teams have been trying to pack the paint and trying to limit his space, in which he does so well in big games. So I'm happy to see that he went through that. I think, they tried to throw Gortat or Morris at him, which Morris is a pretty good matchup actually for Giannis, but it was good to see him finally fight through that kind of, I don't know, little slump he was in.
Yeah, definitely. This was a definitely good bounce back performance from Eric Bledsoe as well. 23 points on 8 of 15 from the floor. He was a plus 13. He did a lot of things really well today. There were some things that I didn't like from him late in the game. I thought he kind of did a little too much hero ball with some careless passes, but he hit a few key jump shots when it mattered. So hard to complain after the Bucks win, of course.
The Bucks sneak away. Giannis, Middleton, Bledsoe, and Brogdon scoring in double figures, all with 16 or higher. Really limited bench scoring tonight, once again, which was kind of a problem this weekend as well. Thon Maker, 14 minutes, minus 14. 4 points. All the people on the bench have negative plus minus, with Tony Snell leading at a minus 17 in his 15 minutes, and all the starters had positive ratings for the game. So there's definitely some bench issues that I think need to be solved before we can take the next step, I believe, in the playoffs or going into the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. And Tony Snell has really, really disappeared the last 2 or so weeks. And that's very concerning to me because, he's a big part when he gets in on the floor. He's going to be your designated sharpshooter, catch and shoot. And when he's not able to do that, he really doesn't have any impact on the floor. And, with the well-documented struggles of the Bucks bench this season, it's, the fact that he's trending downward is not a good sign. And for me, Thon Maker, my biggest pet peeve with Thon Maker is that his hands are made of stone. He can't catch a ball no matter where he is on the floor, whether he's in the corner, whether he's in the post, high post, wherever it may be. He just can't catch a clean ball.
You're right. And we talked about it in our last podcast. He catches it and he doesn't look ready to catch it. He fumbles it. Pretty much every time he catches it, he fumbles it. So, I don't know. Maybe get some glue on his hands. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, throw some stickum on there, right?
Right. Cool play from today's game. Giannis on a fast break. It was kind of a fumbling ball. long snapped it to Chris Middleton for the fast break dunk. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll definitely see that one on SportsCenter for sure. I'm pretty sure the Packers could use Giannis as well. Whatever it may be, wide receiver, quarterback. I'm sure they could use him.
Yeah, now I guess a long snapper. Yep, and then so that is a 2-1 stretch for the Bucks. They're 23-20 right now, in the thick of it, in the East right now. Do you think that maybe, I don't know, I think when the bench gets back in order, it'll be because of Jabari,
Look, it's January 15th right now, so we're very close to him coming back. So the Bucks just need to keep their head above water, really. I would like them to be, at least 4 games over 500, which is what they were before they started losing this weekend, before Jabari Parker comes back. So then you're already set up to make sort of a run there, because I'm assuming you're 3-4 games over 500, you're going to be at around the 6th seed. So I think just holding your head above water until Jabari Parker comes back is definitely a key.
Yeah, I mean, they're 3.5 games out of 3rd place in the East. They're the 3 through so the Cavs are 7 games back, and the Bucks are 10.5. So they're 3.5 games back, and the Bucks are the 7th seed. So that kind of tells you this is going to be a lot of changing in these rankings by the time the season's over.
Yeah, and you look at this week who the Bucks are playing. They get their rematch with Miami at home on Wednesday, and then they travel to Philadelphia in a much-anticipated game against the up-and-coming Philadelphia 76ers on Saturday.
Should be a good game. Should be nice to see if they can stop Joel Embiid. I mean, with big men, they have a lot of trouble, so we'll definitely have to see how that ends up working out.
Yeah. That game against the Heat is what really I'm looking at, because I just want to take a minute to say Eric Spoelstra is one of the best coaches in NBA history. With what I'm seeing right now, with what he's doing with the injury-depleted Miami Heat, if you look at their roster and how well they are playing, it's amazing what a good coach can do to a team.
Yeah,
it really is.
That's definitely true. I mean, they have a winnable stretch of games coming up. They play Miami. They play Phoenix twice. This is all before January is over. They play Phoenix, Brooklyn, and Chicago. You get out of that 6-game stretch, you could probably win. You probably should win all of them, to be honest with you. But they'll probably lose 1 to Philadelphia, and then Miami will be tough, and then I guess Chicago's definitely had our number this season.
Yeah, don't really expect to hear that Chicago has had our number, but unfortunately that's been the case. For me, really no excuse to not beat Phoenix with what they're going through. Brooklyn is a feisty tanking team, but that's another team you should be able to beat without a problem. Chicago as well. But, that's another early game too, Sunday at 12:30.
3:30.
Yes, for me that is 12:30. But yeah, that's Bucks don't do well in early games, so we'll see.
Yep. Well, we're gonna do our Shepherd Express Minute here, brought to you by theshepherdexpress.com. You can go check out at Shepherd Express and on the Around MKE section under What Made Milwaukee Famous. Matthew Pridget does a nice exposition on the Big League Wisconsin, his article is called. It talks about forgotten Dairyland State pro sports franchises. So it has all about the old sports teams on here, learn about the history of sports in Milwaukee. Go check that out at shepherdexpress.com. Anything you'd got to say to end it out, Andrew?
No, of course. Thank you to everyone over at Shepherd Express. Just to echo what you said, the work they do over there is incredible, and we thank them for the opportunity over here.
Yeah, awesome. Well, you can check us out at creamcitycentral.com or check our social media accounts. You could just search Cream City Central, come up there. You can check me out on Twitter at DylanPiccolo35. You can check Andrew at Andrew_Goodman3. He just put out his 5 takeaways for the game against the Wizards today. So be sure to check that out. Hopefully we'll talk to you really soon, and hopefully it'll be after a Miami loss and a Bucks win on Wednesday.
Yes, more Bucks victories, please.
Thank you very much. Go Bucks.